Greetings. My name is Innocent Msindo, the Director of African Studies Center of Rhodes University. We are funded by the German Research Foundation through the University of Bayreuth since 2019, where we have undertaken through that relationship numerous collaborative work covering the social sciences, the humanities, arts, other work from other faculties such as education, law, and the natural sciences. Our key aim is to really focus on reconfiguring African studies from several angles. And this has been made possible because of the generous funding of the German Research Foundation through the University of Bayreuth itself. We have built over the years a network, a very strong international network of collaborators within the cluster itself, first and foremost, and also numerous other partners across the continent. So we are building upon a very strong and robust intellectual foundation that is laid by Rhodes University itself, which is a research-intensive university based in Makanda. We do boast massive research infrastructure such as the International Library of African Music that showcases very rare collection of music and works from across the continent since the 1920s. We also have a huge historical library that contains collections from South Africa and parts of Southern Africa since the late 1800s and so forth. We also are a seat in Makanda that has the largest collection of a government-funded international library of literary works, which scholars are free to consult when they want to study about the evolution of literature across the continent. The university also has a huge, well-preserved herbarium that makes it possible to research on issues relating to biological sciences, botany, the African environment, and so on. So we do welcome you to partner with us in our efforts to extend our reach in terms of studying Africa in its various facets. We have really benefited from our relationship with our scholars, network of scholars in Moi University in Kenya, in Joseph Kizebo in Burkina Faso, in the University of Lagos, as well as the University of Bayreuth, and a lot of other partners across the globe. We are looking for the renewal of our partnership for the next 7 years, and hopefully we have a longer lasting relationship under Africa Multiple. Thank you very much.
All right, I'm Professor Nelson Odume. I'm the director of the Institute for Water Research here at Rhodes University and also the academic coordinator of the Rhodes University African Studies Center. The Rhodes University African Studies Center is one of the centers within the African Multiple Clusters of Excellence, which is funded by the German government. And this African Multiple Cluster of Excellence is made up of the center at the University of Bayreuth, which is the lead center, and the Rhodes University, Moi, Lagos, University of Lagos, and Joseph Kizebo University in Burkina Faso. The whole idea behind the African Multiple Cluster of Excellence is that of reconfiguring history of African study. You will see that it comes from the global north. But the whole intellectual exercise of the center of this initiative is really to reorient the notion of African study so that the voices of the global south can be heard in terms of what it means to actually do African study. Here at Rhodes University, the entire project has been so impactful. It has been impactful in multiple domains. One, it has really strengthened our early career researchers ecosystem. So, for example, through this project, we have supported more than 10 PhDs and more than also 10 postdoctoral fellows across different disciplines, from the natural sciences to humanities and social science. And all of these people have contributed to the notion of African studies from their various disciplines. And I think one of the beauty of this particular project is the reconfiguring of African study from an intellectual perspective, but also from a structural perspective. And what we're looking forward to is that in the various nodes and centers, these structures that have been created will become enduring even after the lifespan of this project. And I'm talking about the Cluster 2.0. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Professor Ruth Zimba in the Fine Art Department. I'm also the National Research Foundation Saatchi Chair in Geopolitics and the Arts of Africa. I've been working with the African Studies Center for the last few years, and this has really enabled me to expand on the collaborations that I have with artists and scholars across the African continent. I've been the PI for a research project the last few years on art, activism, and social justice. And we questioned with a group of artists what the complexities are in terms of registering dissent and resistance through art, mostly the visual and the performing arts. I think a highlight for me in my research the last few years has been a documentary film that I've been making. The film is about a memorial site that was built a few years ago in Lusaka in Zambia. And the memorial site is supposed to commemorate the Zambians, the Tanzanians, and the Chinese who died when they were building the Tazara railway line in the 1960s and the 1970s. So what I do with my film is I build in certain performative resistances or performance interventions into the film. And I do this because even though the memorial site is supposed to commemorate the Africans, particularly the Zambians and Tanzanians who died, because the project is very much driven by the Chinese state, and so it has a particular rhetoric, there's a lot of oversight in terms of the local Zambian understandings of death, memorialization, graves, and the relocation of the graves, because the film and the memorial involves the relocation of graves. And there's a lot of misunderstanding about local understandings of local perceptions of ancestors, how to honor ancestors and ancestral spirits. So I build in performance interventions in the film to challenge these ideas about the memorial. My next project, I'm very much looking forward to the next film, which I'm starting to work on, and this is going to be quite a different film as it's quite experimental. The film is set on St. Helena Island, which is in the South Atlantic Ocean. It's very remote, between Angola and Brazil, but closer to the African coast. I actually have personal ancestral links to the island, and there's a long history of Africans and Chinese people being present on the island. It used to be a prison island, and there was also Chinese indentured labor on the island. So this time I'm going to experiment with different types of methodologies using more personal, embodied, and even spiritual methodologies as a way of creating this experimental film. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Lee Watkins. I work at the International Library of African Music here at Rhodes University. This is the oldest music archive on the African continent, and it's celebrating its 70th birthday this year. My interests, it's a broad spectrum, archival studies, hip-hop studies, traditional music, heritage studies. It covers quite a few areas, and usually I'm quite open to ideas which students might have. And colleagues sometimes approach me with requests for writing on certain topics, and then I'm quite easy and open about pursuing those interests. My relationship with RASC here at Rhodes University has been quite productive. It's been enriching in relation in terms of meeting so many new people with very committed and concerned about the future of research on the African continent, in general, the humanities. So my interest is from the musical aspects, so discipline of music, but I'm also quite interested in related disciplines, which includes anthropology, linguistics, socioeconomic development, especially in rural Africa, technologies, new technologies, social media, and so on. So it's been quite exciting to having to work with colleagues in so many different disciplines. That's been quite a good experience. The other experience is the opportunities which this collaboration allowed. So allowing me to travel to other parts of the African continent, to speak to young African scholars about their research and about writing it up, because I'm also an editor for a journal. So it's very good to recruit and meet with young scholars for them to write articles and then possibly have it published in this journal. So those kinds of opportunities, and then from an archival perspective, looking at the collections that we have on the African continent and looking at the state in which they are in, and trying to find remedies or solutions with regard to digitization, which is kind of the very everyday thing about the archives, but it's also looking towards the future, and especially here on the continent where many countries are still refusing to digitize collections. So that's been almost the activist part of my role, is to motivate and persuade people to digitize their collections. As for the future in this collaboration, I've got a long list of hopes and desires and all that. But I think what the main hope that I do have is that we could entrench this collaboration, so it's not just about exchanging goods and knowledge, but it's also increasingly to foster or bring about a general humanity, to intensify that, because we are facing huge challenges, with climate change being one of them. And then how do we do this? Through collaborations with other African countries and also with countries of the global north. So my hope is that we could continue and intensify our efforts at transforming not only at the universities and institutions, but also, I think, our human relationships with each other and with the environment. Thank you.
My name is Patrice Moeblo, or simply Patrice. I'm a professor of French Studies and Deputy Dean of Humanities. I'm a member of Rhodes University African Studies Center, or RASC, and I'm one of the members who were there since the establishment of this center. I'm very happy to testify that this center has brought light to Rhodes University, because the agenda for the center is the research in African studies, which existed before, but in isolation in each department. For now, the center is serving as a hub for all the research in African studies, and we can find all the researchers from the entire university putting their effort together in order to promote the Africa agenda. And also, the good side of the center is that it is working in connection with all the scholars around the world, those scholars who are very much interested in promoting African culture and science and everything. They can also come to Rhodes University, and Rhodes University is going there in order to team up and bring very interesting research for our continent. So this is so far so good, and we hope that the next cycle of this center, we can continue doing the same research and improving all the time and going where we have never been before. And this is only good. It will get better, and we hope that the support that we are enjoying nationally and internationally, and from our own institution will continue to be there, and this is going to be very good. And I thank you very much for giving us this opportunity to be working for Africa, from Africa and around the world. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Sally Matthews. I'm an associate professor in the Department of Political and International Studies at Rhodes University, and I'm also involved in the Rhodes African Studies Center. Well, my interests are very much in the politics of knowledge production on Africa, and so that's why I fit into the bigger project of the Rhodes African Studies Center. I've enjoyed interacting with the colleagues from the other parts of the broader cluster, and I hope to collaborate further. We had a very good meeting last year in Mombasa, trying to bring together our different ideas, and I'm looking forward to collaborating further with colleagues at Virus and also at the other cluster centers. Thank you.
My name is Lawrence Juma. I'm a professor of law here at Rhodes University in the law faculty. I have been affiliated to the African Studies Center for about 3 years, and my experience has been really, really good. My research is in the area of forced migration and displacement. And because of my relationship with the center, I've been supported in a number of ways. At one time, I was supported to be able to participate in an international conference in Tanzania, where we were discussing the role of international law in managing African migration. And apart from that, the center has been able to bring colleagues from across the globe to debate on human rights issues, which is also my passion. And to see some of our students being supported to be able to finish their studies. So I do hope that the center does grow in strength. I do hope that many more scholars could join the center to give it much more strength, and that we are able to collaborate even across the globe with other colleagues from other countries, so that we strengthen the academic voice in some of the matters that we do. I also do hope that the center gives our university the needed visibility in terms of research and academic work across the disciplines that we work through. And really, it is because of the center that I've begun to work with colleagues in other disciplines and explore matters of common interest. So I'm quite excited, and I do hope the best for the center. Thank you.
My name is Bodina McConaughey. I'm the HOD and ethnomusicologist at the Department of Music and Musicology at Rhodes University, and also a very active member in the Africa Multiple Cluster. It's a really wonderful privilege to be involved with the cluster for many reasons, one being that I have gotten to meet many other colleagues at the university who are also part of it, and secondly, as a principal investigator, I was funded for the project called African Approaches to Sonic Pedagogy. This has been really amazing because I have been able to meet with and learn from colleagues all over the African continent, which I think is exactly what the cluster is all about. In fact, I've been able to invite them to come to Rhodes University and share their knowledge, not only with my colleagues and I, but also with our students. And I think this is where the value of it is. We're not trying to meet people from around the world, we're trying to meet people from Africa and trying to share knowledge with each other. And for me, that has been the most valuable part. I look forward to the next funding cycle, and I hope that there'll be many other opportunities just like that.
Hi, so I'm Dr. Dominique Santos from the Rhodes University Anthropology Department. I joined the Africa Studies Centre about 1.5 years ago, And it's been incredibly rewarding in terms of the support that the Centre has given to our research on shipwrecks on the southern Indian Ocean coastline of South Africa and the province we now call the Eastern Cape. And our work has really been looking at Portuguese shipwrecks in particular, and making visible the fact that these were slave shipwrecks, that they carried cargoes of people, and also that they had many people on board whose stories were erased or marginalized, made invisible in historical accounts of these voyages and this age that's been called the Age of Discovery, been called the foundation of the modern world system, but really conceals so much in terms of the narrative that's told about it. And that's what our work is uncovering through the prism of shipwrecks and what happened in the aftermath of shipwrecks on these coastlines. So in doing this work, we've been scrutinizing shipwreck narratives from survivors of shipwrecks to uncover the stories of enslaved people on board and also marginal crew who became part of indigenous societies in this part of the world. And this helps us in a lot of ways to get a bigger picture of what our history actually is and who we actually are and what South Africa is built on and what the world is built on. So our work has allowed us to collaborate with heritage organizations, local museums, to reinterpret heritage collections as well. So a lot of the material culture, tangible heritage objects that have been recovered from shipwreck sites. We're now able to work with local museums like the East London Museum to reinterpret these collections in light of these new stories that we're finding in order to get a bigger picture of what our heritage is about. It would be beautiful to be able to continue to be supported in this work, to continue growing the ways in which we can really transform heritage studies in this country, but also globally.
I'm Suzanne Vetter in the botany department. I'm a plant ecologist with a long-standing interest in human-environment interactions, including in rangelands and also in the relationships of humans with nature and how that relates to heritage. I'm relatively new to the Africa multiple clusters. I've been involved in developing a new thematic area called ecologies as part of the proposal for a second phase. And I'm very excited about the possibilities for studying human-environment relations in Africa, and especially the possibilities for collaboration and exchange with colleagues in the other African member institutions.
Hi, my name is Michelle Cox. I'm an associate professor within the Department of Anthropology at Rhodes University, and my research interests are around environmental anthropology, and I have been doing research predominantly within the Eastern Cape that attempts to understand people's relationships with the natural world. Initially, this was very much within a line with a livelihoods perspective and how this had potential impacts for environmental concerns. So a lot of my work engaged with attempting to understand how natural resources are used and the impact this may have on the environment. So it contributed towards debates and discussions around conservation. However, in more recent years, this has shifted towards attempting to understand how the meanings and significance that are attached to the natural world, not only in terms of what people are making use of the environment for on a utilitarian basis, but also the meanings and attachment in relation to notions of spirituality as well as well-being and belonging. Now, a lot of my work has been I've collaborated with organizations predominantly based within more based within the global north, such as Wageningen, the University of Wageningen, as well as Sweden, to mention a few. So my possibility or this opportunity to be part of the African multiple clusters is really exciting, as I can see the possibilities or the opening up of working more closely with people who are based within Africa, and therefore contributing and building this body of knowledge in a more holistic and engaging way. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Dr. Tapiwa Madimu, and I'm a new member of the Rhodes African Studies Center. I'm a senior lecturer in the history department, and I teach courses related to world history and African history. It's a pleasure to be a new addition to the center, and I'm looking forward to engaging and making contributions to scholarship in Africa through this initiative. And it is my hope that I'm going to benefit and also contribute towards the building of a postgraduate cohort, and also derive benefits from my own research. My research interests are mainly in African economic history, with a particular emphasis on South Africa and Zimbabwe. And I focus mainly on mining history, agricultural history, financial history, as well as peace building and conflict resolution in Africa. So it is my hope and belief that my expertise in this kind of research is going to add and build up and make a useful addition to the center's initiatives.
Hello there. My name is Dr. Fenji Materachera Mitochi. I am a postdoctoral fellow under the African Studies Center at Rhodes University. Being a part of the center has been an enriching experience for me in my journey as an early career researcher. It has given me countless opportunities to engage with other African intellectuals who are at the same part in their career journey. It has given me opportunities to get exposure to people outside of my discipline, and given a lot of opportunities for growth. I look forward to continued engagement with the center as well as the African Multiple Cluster, and I'm hopeful for what is in store for us for the future. Thank you very much.
Hello everyone, I am Dr. Folarumi Flourish Olorunide, a postdoctoral fellow at the African Studies Center here in Rhodes. I'm a medical historian with special focus on maternal and infant health care, child and children care, midwifery and midwifery practices in colonial, pre-colonial and post-colonial Africa. I started my postdoc here this year, and so far it has been overwhelmingly amazing. And this is because of the opportunity the multiple cluster has offered me in terms of mentorship, in terms of provision of research resources, which has helped me in writing articles, one of which is presently being published at one of the top medical journals in the world. And I look forward to a wonderful experience which I have been enjoying as an early career researcher. It is a rare opportunity, and it is something. It is one I would always cherish, because it is an opportunity that is rare to come by. And with this, I really appreciate the multiple cluster for its funding and its generous funding. And so far, the experiences I have had, it's amazing. It's an amazing one, and one I would forever cherish as I grow in my career. Thank you.